Today on The Real Story, want to make a bet? At the state capitol, another push for sports betting is underway. One proposal would give an exclusive on it to the tribal operators of our 2 casinos, while authorizing another casino in Bridgeport. Rodney Butler, the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Chair, is here to talk about it with us.
Also, more reaction to the demise of Governor Lamont's treasured tolls plan. Democrats kept saying they have the votes, so why wasn't a vote taken? The governor's Republican rival in 2018, Bob Stefanowski, is also here this morning.
Connecticut is ready, and we've been ready for a while.
Governor Ned Lamont this week moving to reassure citizens that his administration has acted quickly to prepare for the spread of the virus. Plus, emotions run high over the bill to repeal the religious exemption for vaccinating children against other health threats. It's all today on The Real Story. Hi there, you're watching The Real Story. I'm Al Terzi alongside Jen Bernstein.
Thank you, Al, and good morning to everyone at home. Competing bills to legalize sports betting in Connecticut. That's first on our agenda today. One bill would authorize such wagering not only at the tribal casinos, but also at off-track betting facilities and at some lottery locations.
The other would allow sports betting only at the tribal casinos, but would also authorize a new casino in Bridgeport, as well as online gambling. Joining us first this morning, representing the Foxwoods Resort and Casino, Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Chair Rodney Butler.
Good morning.
Thank you,
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you guys
Mr.
for having
Chairman.
me.
Good to have you back.
All right,
Always a
so
pleasure.
here you are. Still no agreement over the exclusivity issue.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Well, you know, I think we need to clarify what the exclusivity issue is.
Yeah,
The
what is it?
exclusivity issue was resolved almost 30 years ago, right? There was a compact that was put in place between the Pequot and the state of Connecticut that provided exclusivity over gaming in the state.
Gaming in general.
Gaming in general. And it was expanded 2 years later, 3 years later. They included the Mohegan. And in that expansion, it also said any gaming in the state, falls under
Sports
exclusivity.
betting is gaming?
In sports
activity?
betting at the time, it wasn't, not that it wasn't contemplated, but because it was federally illegal, it wasn't included. But sports betting itself, in every other state where it has become legal, well, in the majority of states where there's actual casino gaming, is considered a casino game, right? In fact, the National Indian Gaming Commission just came out last month with a finding that sports betting is a Class 3 game, which is a casino game, and urges tribes to work to update their compacts with states and make sure it's addressed.
Have you talked to the governor's office lately? I mean, it's been clear from at least Democratic leaders in the state that sports betting is going to be a priority this session, that they want to make it happen. And Republicans have also said that they are interested in seeing that come up.
I'll say, despite some of the other legislative efforts that are going on in the state, this is one that actually is bipartisan. And so when I talk to people on the Democratic side and on the Republican side, everyone is excited about sports betting and they want to get it done. And not only sports betting, but we're talking about sports betting, online sports betting, and online gaming, and as well as a facility in Bridgeport and entertainment facilities in other cities around the state, which will be sports betting facilities.
As between these two bills that I mentioned earlier, which I assume you favor the one that has the Bridgeport casino in there too.
Yeah.
Because you'll have, well, what will be your position with respect to that?
So the bill that we've been working on, and not that we favor it, it's what the state has favored. The bill is Senate Bill 21. And that started with the conversations between both tribes and the governor last year. It was later picked up by the Speaker of the House and the minority leader to try to turn it into a bill. And that was the one that came on the 23rd hour of the legislative session that just didn't get across the finish line. But it set the foundation for this session. And so since then, legislative leadership and then working with the governor had been adding flesh to the bone on that and saying, how do we refine this bill and get it ready to go? And so it really is all of our bills. So I'm supporting the bill that the state has been working on. The separate bill that's out there, I mean, there's always multiple bills in any session. that are put up, but this is the one that we've been focusing on, and we think this is one that adds the most value to the state collectively.
It would add another casino for you guys.
Well, it would add a satellite facility, and so we've been approved for a facility up in East Windsor, which aside from some...
Where is that?
So that was tied up originally in some federal legal issues, and so we resolved that late last year.
Is it being built? What's the status?
No, because there's some zoning issues that we're now resolving.
Zoning.
We just lost the case.
With the town?
With the town. But the town is actually working with us. So we're going back with the town, and they're planning and zoning. We're going to have a zoning amendment that will fix the concern raised in the lawsuit, and then we'll be ready to proceed in that.
Do you have a timeline on that at this point?
So we're hoping that the rezoning will be a matter of months, and then we can start construction.
Maybe by
We've
fall?
always said once we start construction, hopefully the fall, but once we start construction, it's an 18 to 24 month process from build to opening.
Now, the sports betting, assuming you get it will have to be in the casinos. You won't have control. You won't have any online stuff. I think one of the bills does talk about online.
Yeah, what
through the lottery.
we're proposing is sports betting in the casinos, online. So anywhere in the state, you'll have mobile sports betting, as well as these entertainment facilities, which are technically, they're high-end sports betting facilities that would be located strategically around the state. So, there's a lot of conversation about the XL Center, right? And could there be a sports betting facility, a satellite one, in the XL Center? Absolutely, it would be a great location.
The governor's put up some money for
and the
fixing up the XL Center.
Yeah. So again, it goes back to the partnership of all of us working together, and that's what that bill does. It focuses on that.
You have MGM lurking in the background, and they had been pretty proactive in the state and are proactive in the state in trying to get, their hands in the pot here. How problematic do you see them?
Well, I think there was a lot of conversation during the last session about exclusivity and going out to bid, right? You're not hearing the going out to bid anymore, because what we had been saying all along is that the state has a great deal with the tribes, and that to replicate that is nearly impossible. And so last year what we were saying was there was only one competitor that was looking at getting into the state for a reason, right? Because they were trying to protect themselves with their investment in Massachusetts and then with their subsequent investment in New York. This year, now that they've moved on, and now that things are moving in Springfield and they've finalized their acquisition in New York, there's a lot less chatter in Connecticut and almost little to no focus from outside parties in Connecticut. So it really just opens up the opportunity, all the hurdles that were in place last session, to get this thing done this session.
Right, so the negotiations that are ongoing right now, is it being cordial? Is the mood cordial? Is it argumentative? I mean, how would you describe what's going on?
No, so I've been in politics, fortunately or unfortunately, for about it's the better part of 16 years now, and so I've learned a lot. And I've been up in the state. In my position as chairman, I've been the chairman for 10 years and working with the prior two governors and the current governor and the legislative leadership. And I'll say, just from an emotional intelligence perspective, that the interactions that I'm having this year up there in the Capitol are actually very encouraging. I get the sense that everybody wants to get this done. They feel like the time is now for the state of Connecticut to catch up to the surrounding states. And I think with the loss of tolls, I mean, we need something, right? We need something that's going to generate revenue, which we have nothing else on the legislative agenda that's going to do anything remotely close to this. And we need something that can actually get implemented rather quickly. And that's what we're looking at here.
What about the people who are concerned that expanding gambling in any way is just going to create more problems for a lot of people who are spending their money, their 401ks, to hit the big one,
Yeah.
And so how has that fight been going over the issue of people being addicted to gambling?
Well, we've actually had a long-standing relationship with the Connecticut Problem Gambling Council, and so, in fact, I was speaking with the executive director earlier this week about how we continue to foster that relationship. So we have representatives on the board in that to address that, as well as we actually have them come on site and work with us, with our employees, and they're actually been on the concourse and interacting with patrons, and so we're very aware of that. It's a real issue. And we've been committed to it for the last 27 years.
We have to end the segment, but just real quick, there's a lot of changes in the Mohegan leadership. We know we used to have you and Kevin on talking about you all working together.
Yeah.
What's that been like? Because obviously there's been a lot of changes there.
Yeah, so like with anyone, with a lot of change, there's adjustments and you have to get settled in. I'll say my cousins across river, they are great partners. They're still committed. They are focused on development all around the world, which is amazing and something that we aspire to. And so they are engaged in this, and they're looking forward to making this happen.
And the members of the respective tribes are doing well.
Yeah, everyone's doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Rod Butler.
Thank you.
Appreciate it all.
Thank you, Rod.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Rod.
Okay.
All right, still to come today on The Real Story. We're not done yet. The state prepares for the worst right now. The governor and health leaders are coming together to make sure you know that they are monitoring, yes, the coronavirus, and they're ready to deal with it. Plus, an update on a story that we've been following on The Real Story. This scene last week, a bill that would repeal the religious exemption for children's vaccinations, drawing a lot of emotion.
But next, right after a quick break, we're going to be talking with the 2018 Republican candidate for governor. Bob Stefanowski is back. We're going to talk with him about Governor Lamont's legislative agenda this time, and it no longer includes highway tolls.
And coming up right after The Real Story, it's Real People with Stan Simpson. On his show today, Charles Frazier, a licensed clinical social worker, entrepreneur, and author. His thought-provoking book, Crossing the Line, addresses the therapy needed to heal domestic violence offenders, mostly men. The majority of them have experienced abusive and violent behaviors themselves. So stick around for that. The Real Story will continue right after a quick break.